Okay, so I'm not showing you this video because I think it's amazing. No, it's actually quite the opposite. It's okay. It's okay for what it is at my skill level at this point. But I want to show you the journey of what it's like to not just, I guess, try to become a stand-up comedian, but the journey of of what that looks like every step of the way. From the very beginning when you're really awful and it's just that until you get better and you get better. So this stand-up that I did was just this last year, 2025, at the Feast of Tabernacles. So the audience is probably 250 people or so in an assembly area. And it was a talent show, Gong show night. And so it's pretty silly. And so there's a couple of things, like in the beginning, I do a little bit with the Long John Silver hat, which, I don't know, I kind of like the joke. But now that I watch it from the audience perspective through the video, I don't like that I kept wearing it the whole time because it's got like the skull and crossbones on it. And that's weird. So I don't know. If I ever do that bit again, I'll probably do it and then take the hat back off. But since it's the Gong show and it was a silly night, I just wore it the whole time. And there are tons of things that I am really annoyed about what I did in this performance. And it's about 12 to 13 minutes. And like I said, it's pretty good for what it is. But I'm still a beginner. You know, I've still got a long way to go. And I want to post this and show you guys the journey so that way you can see, like in the future, if you ever see me do any of these jokes again, you'll see the difference of how much better they are. Especially one of the jokes. I won't tell you what it is, but I didn't finish the joke. I introduced the joke and I told the story, and then I got sidelined in the middle of it, and then I forgot to go back and finish the joke and hit the major punchline. So that's a bummer. I mean, you get up on stage and you start thinking, even when you have your notes, you still get distracted by things that are going on, and it's just crazy. So anyway, enjoy this video for what it is. At this point, I've done stand-up I've probably done an open mic night, I don't even know, like less than 50 times. So I'm still really inexperienced. But this is the most recent open mic night I did, so theoretically it should be the best. But I don't think it is. I don't know. So check it out. Let me know what you think.
All right, so we got chickens, we got hens, roosters, ducks, geese. Right, I just want to get all the foul language out of the way at the beginning. Can't we all just get a Long John Silver souvenir pirate hat? Huh? There we go. You feel better? I feel better. All right. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this guy's some kind of a comedian. Well, that's not true. I don't even have a podcast. But I apparently look like everybody to somebody, which is kind of fun, because you always get like people that think you look familiar, and then you have to go through everything you did in public for your whole life to see what they may have seen you in, or what store they ran into you in, or something like that. But this week I had the complete opposite, which was kind of a rare treat. I had somebody look across at me at the dinner table and say, "You look really familiar. Are you on a podcast?" And I was like, "Well, maybe, but I did go to a Bible study at your house." And so that could be it. Let's see, this time last year I moved to Springfield, Missouri. Got a job at Amazon so I could work on my delivery. It's dangerous when you're working delivery, because you're out there in the country and people have like dogs and crazy animals and stuff. And so they're coming at your throat, and so you always want to be prepared. You have some dog treats. It's a very good idea to have dog treats, because dogs are vicious, and they're territorial, but they're also kind of stupid. And so if they're coming at you, you just reach in your pocket and throw a little dog treat on the ground, and they're like, straight to that. I just wish that worked with humans, though. Wouldn't that be cool? If you were like in a restaurant or a bar, and some big country guy bows up on you, he's like, "I'm gonna kick your," and then you reach in your pocket and throw a cheeseburger on the ground. He's like, "What is that, a cheeseburger?" Oh. I don't know. If any of you guys try it, let me know what happens. But the Springfield, Missouri was pretty neat, because right across the highway from where I worked at Amazon, they had a Buc-ee's. You guys some Buc-ee's fans in here? Yeah. You have any idea how much money I saved on toilet paper last year? Buc-ee's was really close by. All right. Now, a lot of you guys have probably lived through a lot of apocalypses in the past couple of decades. And it's pretty neat, because when the world's about to end, the whole world, what do? Do they repent? Do they turn to God? Do they cry out for help? No, they buy toilet paper. And this is interesting, because I'm way ahead of the game. For the past 5 years, I've been saving up on my CVS receipts. And I think I have a little too much. Here's a little tip. Next time you're at a Buc-ee's doing your business and stuff, you know how people come to the door? They try to open the door and you're kind of comfortably in there and people freeze up, they don't know what to say. You can always go with the standard Forrest Gump, where you're like, this seat is taken. But here's what I prefer. When I hear that and they're knocking at the door, trying to open the door, I just go, come on in, now it's a party! I'm just saying, there won't be any more knocks. It's peaceful. So now recently, about a month ago, I moved to Nashville, Tennessee. I don't really have any particular reason that drew me there, although I am strangely attracted to their magnet schools, but not so much their Christian schools, right? Like their local Christian schools there. I ran into somebody from the local Christian school, and I was like, well, hey, who's your favorite character from Genesis? Right? And he said, Phil Collins. And I said, how long have you been teaching here? Now, I just moved to Nashville. I got a roommate who's like a super health nut, right? He's a real fit guy. He's not just fit, he's real super fit, right? In other words, he has a cape and everything. But it's very interesting because he's racist as well, which is kind of fun to live with. Because he's always going on and on about how much he hates all the youth in Asia. And that's tough. He also doesn't seem to like music, because he really complains about the violins on TV. Yeah. All right. You guys got in here for free. So you're getting your money's worth tonight. Yeah. So let's see, my roommate, he also, interesting enough, he has a pet. It's a manatee, if you can believe that. If you can't believe it, it doesn't matter, this is a comedy show. Okay. But he's got a manatee, which is interesting, because I wanted to get a dog when I moved in. I wanted to get a Great Dane, but I have a very small room that I'm renting there, so I just had to settle for like a regular Dane. Maybe even a mid-sized Dane, I don't know. But he's got a manatee, which is kind of fun, and so he named it Hugh. All right? It's very interesting, because of course when people come over and they see the manatee in the living room, they freak out a little bit. And their reaction is always like, whoa, what is that? And then he's able to jump up and say, oh, the humanity? That's right, I do jokes for old people as well. That's right. Like Tom Arnold walked into a bar. And then he married her. A couple of weeks ago, I made the mistake. I went to a garage sale, which is a pretty stupid thing to do because I have nowhere to put it. But on the way here, it was a little road trip from Nashville, so I stopped at a Cracker Barrel. And this is very interesting. I found out something about myself. I'm walking through the store in Cracker Barrel, and in my peripheral vision, I see Werther's, right? Werther's Originals. Caught my eye, and I turned and I looked and I said, ooh. And that's when I knew I was getting old at that point. I guess the first red flag is the fact that I was shopping at Cracker Barrel. I'm not that bright. So I recently had a birthday, which was kind of fun. But some friends of mine took me out for a birthday dinner, and it was kind of interesting because they're not biblical people, and so they tend to like eating some of the unclean stuff. But in my honor, for my birthday, they were like, we're not going to order anything unclean. I was like, wow, that's cool. So for my birthday, you guys are going to obey God. That's neat. It's like, maybe next year you can not kill somebody. We'll see where this goes. Now, I share my birthday with some interesting people. And this is cool. I share my birthday with Lucille Ball. Right? With Punky Brewster.
Woohoo!
With Ginger Spice. And obviously you can tell what we all have in common.
We're old.
Is the fact that nobody here under the age of 40 knows who any of us are. A couple of months ago I went to a movie, I walked into the movie theater. I walk right into the ticket booth. The girl looks right up at me and says, "Are you a senior?" And so I said, "What?" And she said, "You're a senior, right?" I was like, "Okay, that's 2 strikes. That's great." I was like, "How does this girl know that I'm graduating from high school this year?" So I thought about it for a second, and I thought, well, okay, I don't know if I'm a senior. How old do you have to be a senior here? And she said, 65.
Oh, jeez.
She was so happy about that. And that's interesting, because I could turn around and walk right out of that movie theater and come back in 10 years, and she'd still be wrong. But she probably would still be working there. Because when I was a teenager, I was 16, my first job ever was at Six Flags Over Texas. Anybody heard of that? All right, I was working in the games department, and so I was working the scales. That was my favorite game. So it was my job to guess somebody's weight within 3 pounds or their age within 2 years. And that was a fun summer, but I never missed somebody by like 15 years. And the reason why I know I did that is because I'm still alive today. God is my judge, ladies and gentlemen. And what I mean to say is that's my name. My name is Daniel. That's a Hebrew name. It means God is my judge. No pressure. Okay, so it's the E-L on the end, right? That signifies the name of God. So if you take that off, you're just left with Dan. Dan just simply means judge. And that comes in handy when you're having religious discussions with your friends. Because at some point they're going to say, "Who are you to judge?" And I get to say, "I'm Dan." I have so many friends. And so a lot of those friends, they're atheists. They don't believe in God, or they're agnostic. They're not sure if there's a God, right? I myself, I'm an agnatheist. I'm not so sure that there's any such thing as an atheist. But I know as a Christian, I'm not allowed to have anything to do with idolatry, right? As Christians, we can't have anything to do with idolatry. Which means from now on, we have to do our shopping at the Dollar General. All right, I appreciate those of you that got that. You can share it with the people that didn't. Flow across the audience. I was reading Ezekiel, right? The part where it talks about giving us a new heart and a new spirit. And I read that and I was like, new heart? Wow. How many shows has this guy done? And how long has he been around? All right, which reminds me, of course, Yeshua, when he was 12 years old, right? His family goes to Jerusalem for the Passover. They leave Jerusalem not realizing that Yeshua was left behind. They home aloned him, right? So they didn't realize he was gone for like a day, and then it took them 3 more days to find him. And so technically speaking, Mary and Joseph were the very first people in the world to ever find Jesus. And the Bible doesn't state it clearly, but I'm pretty sure that from then on, people really didn't like them very much. So 12, can you imagine they found him in the temple and he's teaching and hanging out with all the really smart people. And I'm sure we have a lot of really intelligent 12-year-olds here. But you know, all the 12-year-olds outside of this building are usually pretty stupid. I know that I was. I was stupid for a long time. But here's an example of being stupid. When I was 5 years old, my sister was born. And so back in that day, you could actually, I guess, go into the part of the hospital, look through the windows, and you see all the babies out there. And then hopefully they go to the right parents, I don't know. But they're all there, and so my grandfather is holding me, right? He's got me in the crook of his arm. I'm sitting here, I got my left arm around his neck, and so he's like, "Hey, you want to see your baby sister?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is great. I'm 5 years old." Right? He points her out and reads her name, and then I remember thinking this, and I remember saying it, and I remember meaning it. I said, when she grows up, if she's pretty, I'll marry her. But if she's not, I won't. And so I thank my God every day that worked out in my favor. And that is not my sister's favorite joke. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.